John Terrett, CGTN, on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Now let's get some insight into the state of the U.S. economy, and we will bring in William Lee, Chief Economist at the Milken Institute. William, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. A very kind of significant day as well. We touched upon it, I think, in Jim's excellent report there about the economists breathing easy that this 11th hour deal was reached with railway workers. Let's get your take on that, considering how messed up the supply chain has been for so long and what a punishing effect it has on the economy. How significant is this move?
Oh, it is absolutely phenomenal that we avoided that strike, because the supply side is not only messed up, it is at the point where demand exceeds supply and inflation has become a chronic problem for the United States. And if the supply condition had gotten even worse, inflation would have immediately worsened, and that would have been something that would be very difficult for this administration.
All right, let's dig into that a little bit more to kind of give folks an idea just how important rails are to this country. If you've ever seen a map, at just how active that the rail system is, not just for moving cargo, but also a lot of passenger lines run on those lines as well. I mean, this could have had a crippling effect.
Oh, it not only does it affect the goods that are being consumed. I mean, most cars that are delivered by rail. Most equipment and machinery that's needed for investment is delivered by rail. The rail system in the United States is absolutely vital. And on top of that, tourism services, one of the few things that's really revived tremendously since the COVID shutdown, that is also would have been shut down and would have dealt a blow to a lot of people who just managed to get their jobs back and were just enjoying their vacation.
Now, as I also mentioned, a modest rebound for consumer spending last month. What do you make of that? Is it cause for hope, or is it just the fact that things are so bad that even a modest hint of improvement seems so significant these days?
Well, the Fed seems to be on this campaign that says we are going to have to deliver very tight policies that constricts the economy and gets us to a recession before people believe inflation will come down. Now, this modest strength that we see in retail sales kind of goes against that and says not only has the Fed not squeezed hard enough, it's a way of saying the Fed has got to squeeze even harder for longer in order to convince the economy that things will get better on the inflation front. So the good news is bad news in that sense.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about what John said, because that is sobering for everybody following the equities markets. The Fed could raise interest rates as much as, what, 75 basis points, perhaps even more? I mean, I just read an article right before I came out here about how crippling all this has been on new home buyers. I mean, I understand having to get inflation under control, but it's pick your poison.
Well, the only way that monetary policy really works itself to restrain demand is through the housing market. So in some sense, you pick the one sector that's really bearing the brunt of the Fed's monetary policy tightening. But 75 basis points is not the real issue. The issue is, how far is the Fed going to have to go? Is it going to have to go beyond 4%? In which case, in order to get into restricted territory? Because think of the arithmetic. If nominal interest rates are 4%, and inflation is 6%, we still have negative real interest rates, which means the Fed is actually still stimulating the economy. So in those calculations that I just made, you see how far back the Fed is, how behind the curve it is. Now, the thing that's going to save the Fed would be if the supply side recovers and demand starts to come down to the point where people start saying to themselves, wow, the Fed is absolutely serious. They're going to put us into a recession. I better start saving now and not spending in order to protect myself in case I get laid off. That will be the main reason why inflation comes down quickly, and the Fed may not have to go as long and aggressive as I think they will have to.
Yeah, a lot of 2020 hindsight on when they should have acted. Did they act quickly enough? Let's talk about the markets, because Tuesday was an eye-opener, and the fact that it really has not had, the markets have not had any significant movement in a positive fashion since then. Boy, what can we expect in the coming months? I mean, we are in bear territory.
Well, if what I say it comes true, that is, if people start to anticipate that there's going to be tough times ahead and they stop to slow down their consumption, we're going to see inflation come down fairly dramatically. And in that case, the Fed may not have to do that. And once the market sniffs out that the Fed's tightening policy may have an end to it, that's when you're going to see the market turn around and you're going to see a massive boom. But until that time, and as long as people are convinced that the Fed's going to have to keep interest rates higher for longer, then we're going to have a massive disruption in the stock market continuing.
Wow. William, 15 seconds. Tell me, is holiday shopping going to be the thing that helps us, or is it going to be a very blue Christmas?
Well, if we have a very strong Christmas, stronger than a normal Christmas, the Fed's going to say, wow, we didn't tighten enough, we're going to have to tighten more. And the Fed will be the Grinch that steals Christmas.
Oof, okay. William Lee, Chief Economist at the Milken Institute. Thanks for joining us. Well, now